Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, watching the sleek alien vessels streak past his ship like silver arrows. The Galactic Defense Fleet had assembled near the Centauri Gate, preparing for what military analysts called the most significant threat to civilized space in 3 centuries. The Void Swarm had emerged from deep space 6 months ago, consuming entire star systems with their biomechanical ships. Every species in the galaxy had contributed their fastest, most advanced vessels to this final stand. Every species except humanity, apparently. Another one of those pretty alien ships just lapped us, Lieutenant Mike Davis reported from the navigation station. That's the 7th one in the past hour. Morrison nodded grimly. The Defiant was indeed slow compared to the rest of the fleet. While the elegant Alarian cruisers could achieve near-light speeds, and the crystalline Nexus destroyers could phase through space-time itself, the human warship plodded along at what other species considered embarrassingly pedestrian velocities. Rex Voss of the Alarian High Command had made his opinion clear during the pre-battle briefing. Perhaps the humans should remain in the rear guard, he had suggested with barely concealed disdain. Their vessel appears more suited to cargo transport than combat. The comment had drawn chuckles from the assembled alien commanders. Even Captain Nina Torres of the Nexus Alliance had smiled, though she attempted to hide it behind her datapad. Morrison remembered the sting of that moment, but he also remembered his orders from Earth Command. Show them what human engineering can do. Admiral Lisa Park had told him before departure. Speed isn't everything. Now, as the fleet approached the Void Swarm's advance force, Morrison wondered if his superiors had been overly optimistic. Enemy ships were massive, each one easily 3 times the size of the Defiant, and they moved with surprising agility for their bulk. All ships engage at will, Admiral Voss commanded over the comm channel. The alien vessels surged forward, there, weapon systems painting the void with brilliant streams of energy. The Alarian ships danced around the enemy, their incredible speed allowing them to strike and retreat before the Void Swarm could respond effectively. The Nexus destroyers phased in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy lines to deliver devastating attacks. For the first few minutes, the battle seemed to favor the Galactic Defense Fleet. The alien ships were performing exactly as expected, their advanced technology giving them clear advantages over the biomechanical monstrosities of the Void Swarm. Then everything changed. The Void Swarm ships began adapting. Their hulls shifted and reformed, becoming more aerodynamic to match the speed of the Alarian vessels. Strange energy fields began emanating from their surfaces, disrupting the phase technology of the Nexus destroyers. Within minutes, the alien fleet found itself struggling against an enemy that could match and counter their every advantage. "This is Admiral Voss to all ships," came the strained voice over the comm. "Enemy forces are adapting to our tactics. We need to modify our approach." But the Void Swarm was already pressing their advantage. The biomechanical ships began surrounding the faster alien vessels, using their superior numbers to create inescapable traps. One by one, the pride of the Galactic Fleet began taking heavy damage. Morrison watched the tactical display with growing concern. The Defiant was still too far away to engage effectively, but he could see the battle turning against their allies. The alien commanders had relied too heavily on their technological advantages, and now those advantages were being systematically neutralized. "Captain," called out Ensign Tom Kelly from the weapons station, "we're finally in range of the enemy formation." Morrison studied the battlefield. The Void Swarm had arranged themselves in a complex 3-dimensional pattern, with their largest ships at the center and smaller vessels forming protective layers around them. The alien fleet was caught in the middle, being torn apart by coordinated attacks from all directions. "All stop," Morrison ordered. The bridge crew looked at him in confusion. "Sir?" Davis questioned. "You heard me. All stop," and charged the main cannon. The Defiant's main weapon was another source of ridicule among the alien fleet. While other ships carried dozens of energy weapons, missile batteries, and exotic particle beams, the human warship mounted a single massive magnetic accelerator cannon. It was crude, primitive, and according to most military experts, completely obsolete. Charging main cannon, Kelly reported. Full charge in 30 seconds. Morrison watched the tactical display, calculating angles and velocities. The Void Swarm ships were moving in predictable patterns, their biomechanical nature making them follow certain behavioral algorithms. The alien fleet, in their panic, was actually herding the enemy into a tighter formation. Captain Morrison. Admiral Voss's voice crackled over the comms. Your ship needs to provide covering fire immediately. We're being overwhelmed. Understood, Admiral, Morrison replied calmly. Main cannon charged and ready. He studied the display one more time. The Void Swarm's largest ship, clearly the command vessel, was positioned perfectly. Its massive bulk was surrounded by smaller vessels, creating a dense cluster of targets. Fire, Morrison commanded. The Defiant's main cannon discharged with a sound that reverberated through the entire ship. A tungsten slug, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, tore through space toward the enemy formation. The projectile struck the command ship's hull and punched completely through it. But the real devastation came from what happened next. The slug, still carrying enormous kinetic energy, continued through the ship and struck the vessel directly behind it. And the next one. And the next, the simple tungsten projectile carved a path of destruction through the entire Void Swarm formation. Ships that had been adapting to energy weapons and exotic technologies had no defense against a chunk of metal. Traveling at relativistic speeds, the command ship exploded first, followed by a cascade of secondary explosions as the projectile continued its deadly path. Within seconds, the entire enemy formation was in chaos. The surviving Void Swarm ships, suddenly without their central command structure, began firing randomly at each other. Their adaptation protocols, designed to counter sophisticated alien technology, were completely overwhelmed by the primitive but devastatingly effective human weapon. All ships concentrate fire on the remaining enemy vessels, Morrison ordered over the fleet comm. The alien commanders, stunned by the sudden turn of events, rallied their ships for a final assault. The remaining Void Swarm vessels, disorganized and leaderless, were quickly destroyed by the combined fire of the Galactic Defense Fleet as the last enemy ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Admiral Voss's voice came over the comm channel. Captain Morrison, that was extraordinary. How did you know that would work? Morrison smiled as he looked out at the debris field that had once been the Void Swarm's advance force. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, Admiral. Speed and fancy technology are impressive, but nothing beats good old-fashioned kinetic energy. The Defiant might have been the slowest ship in the fleet, but it had proven that sometimes the most effective weapon is also the simplest one, as the human. Warship slowly turned toward home. The alien vessels that had once mocked its primitive design now followed respectfully behind.